transition over to football now. Another big tall guy, except for he's on the football field and everything. Big sits, offensive tackle. Had a great career at Western Kentucky. Was freshman all conference USA is in 2019. This past season, 2022, it was second team all conference. He played left tackle, and then he had to move over and play right tackle. And then he had to move over to left tackle after there was an injury on their offensive line. So this guy is a very versatile offensive lineman. He's a guy that I hear he get at you. He can get at you now. He's one of those mean guys. They say he's a gentle giant away from the field, but on the field, he's one of those mean street guys that you like to hear and like to see about. So let's bring on Mr. Gunner Britton.
Oh, how are y'all?
Gunner, what's going on?
Nothing much. Actually, I just finished my lift about 20 minutes ago. So getting to do a little interview in the car,
Yeah, so you pumped and jacked right now then.
Absolutely. My legs are, of course.
Gunner, welcome to the show, man. Talk about, just the whole overall transition from Western Kentucky. Man, y'all threw the ball a ton when you was there. And y'all was one of the top 10 offensive line groups in college football, giving up the least amount of sacks. And I think that says a lot as much as y'all threw the football. Just talk about transitioning here to Auburn. What made you want to come to Auburn, and what got you to this point so far?
Well, I mean, obviously, so it's a completely different offense. I came from, so when I was first at Western, we did more of a pro style, very similar to if you saw USC. So our head coach is his older brother was Clay Helton, the old coach at USC before Lincoln Riley. Very similar to that offense. And then 2021, we started doing the air raid, and we actually had. His name is Zach Kitley. He's the OC at Texas Tech. He was Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach. Okay. So he's came over and brought that whole system. And, I mean, I was blessed to have coaches that played in the air raid and played at Texas Tech and knew how to do the pass pro stuff. And, I mean, it shows, our coaches and how we were as players when, I think even when we played Auburn last year, I believe we threw it 57, 58 times. Mm-hmm. And I think we gave up one sack late in the game. So, I mean, obviously that was our bread and butter. It's the same with people who run the ball. If you run counter 25 times a game, you better be really good at counter. If you throw the ball 50 times, you better be pretty good at pass pro. So obviously, that was our kind of thing. Coming here, I had the privilege to play. It was senior night for you guys last year. Yeah. Got to come play in the stadium, and it was my second time playing in the SEC. I got to play against Arkansas in 2019. And, I mean, just the different culture from us, like y'all to Arkansas, it was completely different. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had I think y'all had 89,000 people in the stands. I felt the true SEC culture. And, I mean, even, getting down toward the end of the season, I kind of knew that I was going to be able to have the ability to enter the portal and, garner some attention and stuff. And, I mean, I remember telling my dad, like, when I left, I was like, hey, like, this is somewhere I could see myself playing. This is the atmosphere, obviously. Grew up in South Carolina. Was a South Carolina fan. I remember watching Auburn beat them twice with Cam Newton. I had a buddy at South Carolina's game. I was actually at the SEC championship. So, I mean, growing up, knowing the traditions that Auburn has and getting to see, I mean, one year I got to see the eagle fly, and I'm like, I'm getting to watch it, and I'm like, dude, this is one of the coolest traditions in college football, and I'm sitting here on the field. So, seeing all that in person gave me kind of a different feel. So when I got in the portal and stuff and Coach Freeze and Coach Thornton called me and stuff, I kind of knew about Auburn from what it looks like playing there. Whereas a lot of guys that we brought in never really played Auburn. So they don't really know how it is at a true Auburn game day. And hopefully I have a little bit better experience on the other side now where I actually get to play for them against them, instead of against them. But, I mean, the portal, I kind of knew what I wanted. I grew up down south. You want to play in the SEC. It's the biggest conference. There's a reason. Like, I think we looked at it the other day, like how many guys come to the NFL from the SEC compared to every other conference. So, I mean, for me growing up, I always watched the SEC. That was what I grew up on. So, for me, having the ability to come to a school that was closer to home, and I wanted the tradition of playing at Auburn, And, I mean, it's something what I tell people, like even my brothers, like I'll be an Auburn fan for the rest of my life. This is what my kids will know growing up is, how I grew up a South Carolina fan. They're going to get to grow up an Auburn fan, and, it just means a lot to me to go to a place that's a true blue blood of college football where I get to have all the cool traditions and stuff. So I'm excited for it.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
Well, Gunner, I was looking at your profile and you mentioned going to play at Arkansas. and it said that you blocked an extra point in 2019 at Arkansas. Are you pushing the coaches to let you on some special teams here?
I wish. I actually, so it's kind of, so the whole, how I started as a freshman, I was like 270 pounds. Really, y'all see, I'm 6'6". I'm a big dude. Probably shouldn't be playing at 270. But I got there, was on 4 different special teams. I'm on kickoff return. And I'm like, dude, I remember we played Central Arkansas the first game, and I'm like, dude, what did I sign up for? Like, this ain't offensive line. And so then, the whole season I got to play. I was on field goal block, and I got so close so many times. And then finally against Arkansas, and if you ever watch the video, dude, I look like a clown because I'm like jumping up and down. Like you can tell, I've never been in that situation in my life. And but it set me up because actually, so this year I caught a deflected pass I had like a 12-yard run on 4th and 11, and that was up until the point it was the Arkansas blocked field goal. That was the coolest thing. And then the deflected pass, I was like, finally, I can top the Arkansas because at least I got up and did the first down thing and looked a little bit more athletic, I guess.
Well, hey, I tell you what, Gunner, being at Auburn, expect anything and everything. I'm pretty sure you've seen the game where Bama kicked the field goal short, we run it all the way back for a touchdown, get the Hail Mary against Georgia. We've had some crazy games happen here at Auburn in the years past. But talk about you come in with an offensive line group that's kind of rebuilt. You get Avery Jones, you get Dylan Wade, yourself is here. You also got Too Tall Miller. You come in with a great group of guys that's going to add to this. And I'm missing one of our guys from Tulsa is here as well. So talk about, the transition as far as like all you guys coming in together, working together. How much time do y'all spend actually with one another trying to get on the same accord? Because the season is upon us. And like I said, y'all haven't played a game yet together to understand chemistry with one another. So how do you get up to speed in a quick way?
Well, I mean, it starts with one. I'm a firm believer in like hanging out outside of football is the best way to make relationships. I mean, dude, you've played the best teams are the guys who hang out away from football. That's where, for me as a lineman, like if I like giving up a sack, I take it personal. Like it's like, the quarterback's one of my good friends. I take it personal if I get that guy hit. And that's kind of how, for me, that's how, you're able to excel in the field. And I mean, even D Wade, I get the opportunity, especially in the summer. I lift with D Wade every day. I've gotten really close with him. Me and Avery have a cool connection because we're both older guys. We're both 6 years. Like he's kind of, we're in the same stage of life kind of deal. And I mean, even Too Tall, actually, me and Too Tall went on an official visit to Mississippi State together. So I knew Too Tall before we even, I saw him commit, and then I obviously committed. And I mean, that was a cool relationship. And I mean, even the cool thing about it is, and that's even when I was in the portal, is I wanted to come to a team with a kind of a fresh start. Yep. So everybody the first day, we all I met Coach Thornton before, but all the guys here didn't know who he was. So I kind of got to be the guy who's like, hey, this guy knows, they know what's going on. Like I'm a 23-year-old. I committed to this staff for a year. You guys can trust it, and we can build something here. And I can be almost a bridge of the gap to help, build it in year one. So in year 2, 3, and 4, they have that culture and stuff. So I mean, it's been special for me getting to everybody in the group from you got Jeremiah Wright, Tate Johnson, Cam Stutz, like getting used to playing with guys that I never played with. At Western, I played with the center that was at Western. He was my best friend. We did everything together. He had been there for 5 years with me. So it's like when we step on the field, it was almost a natural thing. Where here you kind of got to build to work towards it. But I mean, we hang out outside of football. We do stuff on the weekends together, and to me, that's how you got to build the bond. And it's not just in the O-line room; it's everybody. You got to try to hang out with the quarterbacks, the running backs, the tight ends, the receivers. Because at the end of the day, the way I look at it, all I can do is block somebody. That's you know what I'm saying. And I mean, at the end of the day, but hey, I need my quarterback to go throw it deep to my receivers. And I mean, even then, y'all see on Saturdays when the receiver catches it, you're gonna see me sprinting down there because it's like. Yeah. For me, that's how I could kind of get to live through somebody is, hey, I did my job, so my guys went and did theirs. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's been special, and I mean, dude, these guys they're awesome. They love to work. It's
I wish they let linemen spike the football after they score, Brian. Like when a receiver score, a running back score, you know how to do in the NFL. Just toss it to the lineman sometimes. Let them just spike that puppy because, like he said, everything starts up front. Whether it's defensive line, offensive line, the fastest team is going to win It's a team that can get to the quarterback the fastest and a team that can set a wall up to protect your quarterback. So, those are all great things to hear because we're excited you're here. We're excited about this whole new group and new football team and everything. So, we love what we're hearing from you, man. And Bryan, I'll let you chime in now.
Yeah, Gunner, you mentioned the pass set at Western Kentucky, how much you had to use that last couple of years. What's changed for you at Auburn? And forgive me, but you look like a guy who might enjoy, lining up and going in that direction, knocking some heads, right?
No, it's looking at schemes. Another thing in the portal and stuff, being an older guy, is we used to do something, if you call it, like Jason, air raid is vertical set.
Yep.
You just basically go straight back. We're here, I can utilize a little bit different stats and stuff. And I mean, every good lineman has 3 to 4 different pass sets they can use. And even running off the ball, the run stuff we do here is something that, in my opinion, it complements what I do. And I mean, if you guys see, like, I'm a pretty athletic guy to be as big as I am. So coming to a system that fits what I can do as a player and help me, showcase all that I can do. And that's what's tough about the air raid is there's always the question, well, can he run block? You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, it's like, hey, I mean, okay, last year we played 14 games and threw it 670 times. So it's like, okay, like you can look at the stats and how many sacks you give up in 670 pass attempts. Be like, okay, he can probably pass pro pretty decent. But it's like, okay, what can he do run blocking and stuff? And I mean, here in this offense, it's going to give us more of a breakdown. I mean, you'll have games where you run it more than you throw it. You have games where you throw it more than you run it. That's how college football is. If you're up by 14 in the third quarter, you're probably going to run it most of the game, and you're going to try to run the clock out and just, really and truly kill the other team and bury the other team,
Yeah.
I mean, Jason would tell you how many games where you got 5 minutes left in the fourth and you're like, all right, I'm putting it in somebody else's hands every time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we're going to run it out. And I mean, it's, credit to the offensive line. And even what I like to do, I like to be able to look at the other team and there's 5 minutes left. We're up by 10 and they know we're going to run it and you're not going to stop it. And that's the fun part of college football. And trust me, it's fun throwing it 50 times and throwing it all around the yard too. But, that's kind of what we're saying about how, all I can do is block. If I can put the game on my back and run the ball and have our running backs, crease and stuff, that makes it fun and makes it special. And I mean, it's just a different scheme than what I'm used to. It was big talking to Coach Montgomery. When I came on my visit, we talked for like 4 hours just about the different schemes that he likes and stuff. Because, I mean, even as a player and as a person, that's the stuff I like to do is really break down okay, why are we doing this? Like, why is this what you do? And, I mean, it's, you can tell why he's had success in the past in the offense he's made, So it's nice.
Yeah, you talk about, just being part of a guy that played right tackle, played left tackle. And so you're versatile along the offensive line because things happen in the season. Knock on wood, we stay healthy the entire year. But being able to have that versatility. But then you talk about, you look across now being involved in the SEC. When you look across and you're blocking the defensive end, it doesn't matter if he's the right end or he's the left end. In this conference, they're pretty highly touted guys. And I know you're probably looking forward to that competition because, like I said, it just keeps boosting your stock. The more that you can show to the NFL, the type of guy that you are, the type of player, this is definitely, I think, a great situation for you. Are there any games or any players from other that is in our conference that you look forward to saying, man, he's a great talent. I look forward to playing against him. And, what are some of the big SEC games that's on our schedule that you kind of got like, man, I can't wait to see the atmosphere for this game?
No, I mean, obviously the first one that comes to mind, we get to play in the Iron Bowl. That's a historic game. Everybody knows the defense they have at Alabama. The thing about the difference in the SEC compared to what I'm used to is, I faced last year, excluding Derek Hall, I think I faced one other DN that he didn't get drafted. He was a UDFA. And I've normally faced 1 or 2 a year, but here I'm going to face 6 or 7 that are, even if they're not this year's class, they're going to be coming out soon. I mean, you look at, for example, Georgia's defense. They've had a first-round DN and a first-round D tackle the last, 3 years?
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's the thing about the SEC, and it's even with us in our D-line. We're going to have guys that are draft picks. So it's like the whole being able to practice against it and go play against it, I mean, what you're saying, it helps my stock as a player. And, I mean, that's what, truth be told, the most fun I had last year in a game was blocking Derek Hall because you know how good he is. Right. And that's, I mean, you can look at, he was a second-round pick. He was, pick 38? in the second, like
Mm-hmm.
the overall draft. So you can look at a guy and be like, okay, this dude was a highly touted guy, and I'm going and blocking him, and I'm not looking like I shouldn't be out here. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So for me, I mean, games I look forward to, Alabama's going to be awesome. Like playing in the Iron Bowl, that's something that's special. That's why you come to Auburn. Playing at Georgia, that's a huge rivalry. You've seen, I mean, even you talked about the deflected pass. Like I remember watching that game and being like, "Oh my!" Like Auburn just won this game, but it was like 6 seconds left, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so those two are big ones. The other big one that I'm really looking forward to is LSU at night, or if it is at night. I really, you know, that's you look up every site, Death Valley at night. That is, you know, even if it's a day game, there's still going to be 100,000 people and they're going crazy.
Yeah, but you
But I
want
mean,
them at
that's what.
night though. At
Oh,
nighttime, it's
100%.
different.
Well, because I mean, that's the, you know, that's the atmosphere. I mean, it's up there with you look at the Michigan stadiums, Ohio
Mhm.
State Stadium. You know what I'm saying? LSU at night is like that's, and I hate to say that my time at Western wasn't college football, but it's just it's a different level. You get what I'm saying?
Oh
It's
yeah.
a different thing. Like even I have family in Mississippi, and they've already told my parents like, hey, if you go to LSU, like, and y'all win, you need to get out quick. It's like you know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, you know, getting to play in that where, I mean, I've played in front of, you know, Western, we averaged 35,000 a game. So it was an
Yeah,
awesome
about to be
experience,
80 plus
but
every
it's,
game
you
here.
know, it's nothing to what this is. And I mean, it's, you know, it's diehard fans that are, you know, it's different. And I mean, that's I compare it to like even my friends up north. NFL is huge in the north. They have traditions and stuff. That's how college football is in the south.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, even, you know, walking around Auburn and stuff, and people will be like, hey, like, you play, like, one, you know, I'm a big white guy. I'm like, everyone's like, yeah, you play football. Like, you are 300 pounds and you're 6'6", you play football. You know, just seeing people in that, you know, I've had people, you know, my cousin went there. I've been a fan for 80 years. My great granddad played on the
Yeah.
team. You know what I'm saying? It's just the tradition of Auburn University and stuff. So I mean, those are the three that I'm really look forward to. I think Texas A&M at Texas A&M. That's another one that's, you know, just a huge game that, you know, not many people get to go play in. So it's going to be really fun to go play in those games and stuff. So
Most definitely.
Well, Gunnar, I wanted to ask you about your first name. It's kind of an original name, and I'm wondering how it sort of came about, family, or just story behind it.
well, so basically, so I have twin older brothers. So my dad is William John Britton, and one brother is William Britton, and the other one's John Britton. So basically, I come like 10 years later, and they're like, yeah, what are we going to name this kid? And he actually, the first one he was going to go with was Chipper, after Chipper
Okay.
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad was like, if I name him Chipper, he's never going to be athletic. Yeah, I'm going to jinx him from the start. And then one day, I want to say maybe they were like looking in a baby book or something, and just were like my dad saw it, and it was like right before I was born, because they were like, what are we going to name this kid? You know, do we want to go to the family route? What are we going to do? And like a week before I was born, they found Gunner, and he was like, "That's it. Like that's his name." So I mean, that's, you know, and I love it. The cool thing about me, I mean, my name's Gunner. I'm born on February 29th. I mean, you know, I have all kinds of weird, you know, like I mean, most people are leap day
Yeah.
babies. So, I mean, that's people around here, especially on our team. They love saying I'm only 5 years old. You know, like being like, dude, how do you not have a
Right.
real birthday? So I mean,
Right.
that's, you know, it's all, you know, it's all pretty cool. So I mean, I
That's,
like it because I get to, you know, I get to be unique. You know, I
yeah.
mean, that's something cool to me. So
I tell you what, man, you are definitely a great asset to this football team, not just on the field, but off the field. You know, just bringing that energy, that leadership. Like I said, you always got to have that even keel mindset. You know, it can't just always be all ball all the time. You got to be able to know your brothers that you're playing with. You know their families, what they're like. All those type of things just add to, you know, why you come to Auburn, why you play the game. But before I let you out of here, we have 5 rapid fire questions. But I got to ask you about NIL. You know, NIL. We're on the On to Victor podcast, and you know, NIL has changed the game in college sports. You know, drastically. Talk about like, you know, how has NIL benefited for you? How has it benefited for your teammates? And you know, just as an overall.
one, it's crazy. So a lot of these guys, I mean, this is my 6th year in college. I've watched the transfer portal. I've watched where you can't transfer before you're a grad. I've watched where if you transfer, you can't get eligibility. You know, I've watched all of it. And even NIL. I remember when NIL first came out, and I'm like, dude, like they're only going to pay like 7 guys. You know, like they're going to pay
Right.
the Caleb Williams and Bryce Youngs of the world. You know, And then, I get to a place here because, I mean, even at Western, like Western started trying to do a collective kind of like what On to Victory is it was when I left. So it was this past year. But, I mean, what On to Victory does is, I mean, it just takes stress off of athletes. And it kind of, what I like about it is I get to talk to fans and engage with people that, they care about the program. And, I mean, that's the whole, even why I came to Auburn in general, is just to be able to talk to people that, they bleed blue and orange. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean for me personally. I mean, it's allowed me to, save for my future and just help take care of my family and just kind of, connect with people on a different side that I've never had, like at Western. And I love Western to death. It's a great place, but you don't have 1,000 people that are, hey, we want to know who Gunner Britton is without a helmet on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the big thing for me that I like is, I mean, everybody knows what Tom Brady looks like. Not everybody knows what Tom Brady's left tackle looks like. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth of it. But On to Victory kind of lets you know everybody on the team. I mean, even this podcast, we've done a couple Zooms and stuff where like, fans get to truly just like, I mean, ask personal questions and kind of find out who the players are under the helmet. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's what I think it's really cool to like bridge a gap between, the players and the fans, I would say.
Oh, good deal, man. Good deal. Bryan, you got any question before I get into the rapid fire and put him on the hot seat?
Maybe Peyton Thorne, just how's he fit in, since he's been in here, and what do you think about his arm?
Well, so funny story again. I played Peyton in 2021. I actually got to witness him and Kenneth Walker at Michigan State. So I've kind of known who Peyton was before I knew who Peyton was. But, I mean, he's a jam-up dude. He's very similar to how I, even we talk about, like, and even my thing is all off-the-field stuff. If I can't like the person off the field, then how am I going to play my hardest for him? And he is, me and him are very similar mindset. I've sat down with him and I actually went and played golf with him this past weekend. Just trying to make a bond off the field. And, I mean, he's a jam-up guy. He's, I think he's everything. We watched him. It was funny. Me and D Wade watched him because he's a big, like all the quarterbacks go and throw and stuff. But when you get a new quarterback, you kind of want to see what he's got. Yeah. So me and D Wade are watching him, and he threw a little seam over the middle. And we're like, I mean, I watched that ball, and I was like, all right, I'm good. Let's go do our O-line stuff, So, I mean, he's definitely – he's legit. He's everything I thought he would be. And, I mean, the best thing about him is as good a football player he is, he's a better person. And that's that's the big thing for me. So, I mean, love the dude, love hanging out with him. I mean, he's just, he's a worker. He comes in our runs. He works, he's he brings the leadership mentality, so it's nice to, have that. I mean, we have other quarterbacks that do the same thing. I'm curious to see how they all do and how the competitions and stuff go. But, getting a guy like that who's had that starting experience and has that, even I've talked to him about, what made him leave Michigan State, and he's very spiritual and stuff. And it was a thing that he felt, the Lord was leading him to do. And, what he left behind to get to come to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a big thing. I mean, especially with what you are saying, NIL and stuff is, I mean, you'll see guys leave for money. You'll see guys leave for opportunity. You'll see guys leave because they're not playing. Like what is it that made you want to come here?
Right.
So, I mean, finding stuff out like that. And, I mean, just hanging out with him and building a bond with him, But he's awesome, and he's got a cannon, and he can put it where he wants it. So it's really nice.
Well, hey, we look forward to seeing all this stuff transition. Like I said, I'll be down there first week in August when you guys get ready to, tip it off. And it's going to be hot down here in the Gunner. I'm telling you, it's a little different heat. But, no, you guys are all about it, man. And I look forward to covering you guys and call you games on Saturdays. Real quick, 5 rapid fire before we bring on our next guest, who's another transfer guy. And, I think I can dunk on him in basketball. I hear he was an ex-basketball player. You probably know.
Oh, I'd give him 20. I'd give him 25. Not even close.
I would. Yeah, before we bring Elijah over here in a little bit, but what's your favorite place to eat at in Auburn so far?
Oh man, I really like Bow and Arrow, and I like a place called Kabuki. I know my man said Makata earlier. Kabuki has better steak and rice, I'm telling you, and shrimp, in my opinion. I go there, dude. They know me by my first name. I go there like 3 times a week.
That's what's up. What's your favorite food to eat the night before a big competition?
Well, I normally keep it simple. I go straight salad to start. Then I normally do 1 or 2 steaks, a little bit of mashed potatoes, If the chicken strips are good, I'll get some chicken strips and then shrimp. And I'll get a
you
little bit of
said
shrimp.
1 or 2 steaks. So you eat 2
Mm-hmm.
steaks.
Oh yeah,
That's what I'm talking about, Brian. See, that's the type of offensive lineman you need right
you
there.
got to
You know what I'm
think.
saying?
Well, that's why I like Kabuki. I can get double steak, shrimp, and double rice. And they like I'm talking. I walk in there, they know what I'm getting. It's great.
I like it. I like it. I like it. What do you do to calm your sometimes guys get nervous a little bit before games or whatever. What do you do to calm your nerves before a big game?
Man, the way I look at it, like the first play is the only play you're ever nervous. And that's how I am. Like you get butterflies. But I mean, dude, I rely on my training at the end of the day. I mean, when you get tired, like that's what even I try to do in conditioning is when you get tired, you go back to your training. It's the same thing. It's kind of like a military thing. As you see guys, when you are at your worst, you revert back to what you've done before. So it's like for me, at the end of the day, like I'm just a player. I got to go one play at a time. There is no, if you're not nervous, you don't care. So there's going to be a little bit of nervousness in there. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just football, and I take it back to what I tell people. Like when I was 8 years old, this is what I dreamed to do. So it's like, I just try to go make that 8-year-old me proud and, have fun doing it. It's a game at the end of the day, and I want to have the most fun I can out there.
Good. Who's your favorite? I want to word this question. I would say, who's an athlete that you look up to or like to tailor your game out there, or as a person and a player?
The dude I try to tailor my game, his name's Brian O'Neill. Probably have no idea who he is. He's the Minnesota Vikings right tackle. We were doing player comparisons, and that's the guy I've got. So I watched 4 games of his this weekend, just trying to see how he plays because I've been told, hey, you kind of look like him, you kind of play like him. The mentality wise, dude, I love Tom Brady because I mean, for me, he's a 6th-round pick. Dude, I was a 2-star out of high school. Nobody expected me to be where I'm at today. Nobody expected me to even have a chance to play in the NFL. So it's like that chip on the shoulder of like, hey, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to be no different than anybody else here. That's kind of, carried me to where I'm at today. And I mean, my thing is pride always comes before the fall. So I can't ever get prideful. There's always more work to do. So.
Gotcha. Last one. What is the biggest Auburn tradition you're looking forward to this season? Is it War Eagle fly? Is it is it Tiger Walk? Is it?
Well, see, I've seen the eagle. Like I've seen him fly, so I can't. I've already seen it, so I can't look forward to it because I know what it looks like. I wanted the Tiger Walk. I saw pictures of it. I think that's going to be awesome. But I mean, dude, the eagle. Like I remember looking at it on the sideline, and I'm like, dude, it's bigger than you think. That's what I don't think people realize. It's like I'm like looking at it, and I mean, I'm like, dude, this thing will get after you a little bit if it wants to attack you. But I say, I mean, the Tiger Walk is going to be cool. Getting that. At the end of the day, I mean, for me, like that's parts of why you play college football at a high level is you get to, see. I mean, even so, when we played Auburn, I remember the student section was at the game. So normally when you do your pregame warm-ups, it's 2 hours before the game. Mm-hmm. There ain't a soul in the stadium. You might see a couple, CBS guys walking around getting stuff set up. We go to play Auburn. I walk out to do my little pregame stuff. Student section's packed. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, dude, it's 2.5 hours. Like we're not even at the 90-minute clock. The big clock that's got 90 minutes. Right. Dude, it ain't even 90 minutes yet, and these people are already out here. But I mean, Tiger Walk's going to be fun. The Eagle's going to be the Eagle's got to be number one though. That thing's awesome.
Good deal, man. Well, Gunner, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, your name meets the person. Like you have a lot of fire about yourself, man. And I think this team is going to fuel off of that. Most definitely, I think you're one of our great leaders on this football team. And I think Auburn's going to have a special season this year. I think you guys keep working together, keep pushing each other. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And I think the bond will continue to grow, like you said, off the field, which will make things on the field a lot more easier because you'll know a lot more about each other than just lining up beside each other playing football. So continue to do what you do. Can you say one thing about our next guest, Elijah McAllister, that we don't know?
I'm trying to think. But one, dude, he's about to be a doctor, I'm pretty sure. And I think he's getting his PhD right now. He is like incredibly smart. I can almost beat him in a hill sprint. I know that much.
Okay.
I get him a couple of times. And he is. I will give him. He'd probably do me in a basketball. He's actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. Well, good deal, then, man. I appreciate it, Gunner. Thanks for coming on, and War Eagle.
Absolutely, War Eagle.
Appreciate it, Gunner.